Nether hubs are always so boring. They are so predictable. You have a big box and a square portal stuck in the middle and probably a foggy glass floor to spawn proof it. And don't forget the iceboat road tunnels going in every cardinal direction. It's time to change the game. I don't want to be boring or predictable. Today I'm starting to build a project I've been planning for well over a year. Transforming the Nether into a functional cyberpunk city we can use as a new Nether hub. I say new Nether hub as I already have an old hub on the roof of the Nether, but the Nether roof is so boring to build on. I want to take our Nether experience back into the Nether itself, below the roof, not hidden in any tunnels. And I have a 5-step plan to make this happen. First, we need to use the power of lore to stop gas from blowing up my builds by building a mob switch inside of the giant tree the city will grow out from, meaning everything within 128 blocks of the tree will be safe. Second, we need to clear out a few 100,000 blocks of space to make room for cyberpunk skyscrapers, and we can throw most of those blocks directly into the lava lake. As third, I will need to go gather over 100,000 blocks to build the city itself. Fourth, I need to deal with the lava lake. As enticing as it sounds to swim in the lava, we need a bulwark to stand on. Finally, a very simple task, we need to build the cyberpunk city. Not sure when I'll see the sun next, but let's get moving as I have a huge problem straight away to deal with before I can even start construction on the city. Well, two problems. First, we have the gas trying to blow up everything. And second, we have hoglins swarming the Crimson Forest I want to build over. Using the power of lore and a Minecraft mechanic to actually make it happen, this tree is going to become our beacon of safety in the depths of the Nether. I want to create a mob switch. While working on other projects, I've turned on my villager breeder back in the overworld as well. I need 128 zombie villagers for this to work. Before we start moving them in, I'd like to create a nether portal at the back here and see where it ends up. Okay, I can work with that. Step one is going to be building out a rail that will connect a minecart track from the villager breeder all the way to the inside of the tree. Then from the inside, we need to create a glass box for the zombie villagers to exist inside of as far away from the perimeter as I can, but still inside of the tree. That is a very important step. We'll talk about why later on. And lastly, another extremely important step, we need an activator rail here at the end to spit the zombie villagers out to the right side automatically into the pit, and then a minecart will go off and break and end up in a chest. Lastly, we need 40 minecarts in a chest so I can easily keep track of how many I have done. Cycle through it 2 times and we're done. I realized that that doesn't equal 128 as I was wrong originally. I actually only need 70 villagers, but I'm doing 80 just to be safe. You're so mean right now, Mr. Ghost. Yes! No! No! My rail! No! I don't have enough to replace those! No! Soon those gas won't bother me any longer. I just need this lovely boy to take his job as a stonemason where I'm not threatening him at all right now. The way this works is I need to trade with the villager once, then send them over to the zombie to get converted. That zombie villager is now special as I've traded with them and Minecraft won't despawn them anymore when they're unrendered, making these the perfect mob switch to power up the tree's mob-proofing lore abilities. This lovely death pit of zombie villagers will never despawn, and they will still fill up the hostile mob cap when I'm nearby, so I can keep sending in more and more of our zombie villagers, which turned out to not be too terrible of a process as I started queuing up 6 zombie villagers at a time during prime trading hours, then moving them all into the Nether quickly when the villagers were being annoying and not picking up their stonemason job. Now, I chose stonemasons for this purely because each stonemason will always come with a trade for 1 emerald for 10 bricks. So not only can I stock up on bricks, it also only costs 1 emerald to lock in a trade, which is super cheap. Meaning I was able to get through the first 40 trips with our adult zombie villagers in just about under 90 minutes, and with a shulker box on hand, I picked up all of our minecarts to reset it for the next round. If you're wondering how this villager breeder has a ton of villagers in it every time, I've been recording this slowly since December 2025, and doing other projects in the area to keep the villager breeder loaded in and running in the background to pass the time for this project. I have already built up a pretty big section of my city in the overworld. Another day IRL later, the breeder is stocked up, and I have 4 more zombie villagers ready to send through, to end up in the mosh pit with all of their friends and family. This is just taking many trips back and forth between the dimensions that I am starting to hear the portal sound in my sleep. So let's see if somebody wants to take a job. No, I already goofed it. Ugh. Despite many hiccups along the way, we now have a liquid mass of zombie villagers that I do not recommend swimming in. You will get an infection. Meaning we now have a fully spawn-proofed region around the nether tree. As long as the tree is loaded in, we won't have to worry about any hostile mobs spawning. But more importantly, if I unload the tree and go farther out into the nether, hostile mobs all start to spawn again. Oh no, not those. You are what I wanted to get rid of. This is all great for today's build, but it comes with a few problems. On the nether roof, right above the tree, I have a ghast farm and a hoglin farm I built about 2 years ago that both no longer work. All of that obsidian gone to waste. I mean, the ghast farm was already basically broken, but like, still annoying. The hoglin farm, though, is my source of food, so that's a more pressing issue. Thankfully, I was smart. Before starting this video, I AFK'd for about 2 hours above the hoglin farm to stock it up. Meaning before I starve, I have all of this food left over before I need to start thinking about a new food source in this world. Oh, that's... okay, we have 5 chests worth. We also have a slight annoyance with the wither skeleton farm. In order to use this now, I have to drop my chunk render distance down to 11 so that the tree is no longer loaded in, and that'll mean that wither skeletons can start spawning out here. Yep, you can see them dropping into their little chambers. It's time for stage 2 of my plan. I need to dig and dig and dig. But before I get too far into digging, I know I will probably be dumb enough to fall in here at some point, so I'm going to cover up the zombie mosh pit we created for the mob switch. And now we can get back to work on digging out this space, starting with the island in the middle, as I would love to fill in the lava, so this all needs to come down to that level, which didn't take too long, as most of what I need to clear is actually in the walls and ceiling, as we are going for stacks of buildings that will reach all the way up to the bedrock ceiling, so I have a ton of netherrack that needs to be cleared. Thankfully, this part of the nether naturally has a huge cave in it, so I don't have to dig too far down before the blocks are just falling into the lava below. I brought 8 shulker boxes with me to get started, and even with tossing out most of the netherrack, I filled them up super quickly. Taking a look at what we've dug out so far, we've got a long way to go. After dropping the stuff off in the overworld, I came back in to repair my tools and get to digging. As thankfully, my best experience farm is literally going to be in the middle of the city with the wither skeleton farm. Locking in for a massive digging session, I was able to, in about 2 hours, clear out the blob blocking the sightline to the tree, leaving behind a shulker monster on the ground that is quickly growing even without saving any more netherrack. Next up, we are going to the right side of the tree, as this is the area of focus today, which needs to have a huge section cleared out, as I want to leave open airspace around the tree, meaning I need to push back the walls more than 30 blocks. Leading to a large chunk of the Crimson Forest needing to be torn out, where I am forever annoyed that the netherwort blocks for the canopy doesn't despawn like leaves do. I guess that is at least a lot more open space and can still be instant mined, so I guess it's probably faster. Taking a quick break from digging to jump scare all of you, I mean repair all of my tools again, as yep, that's another 11 netherite pickaxes nearly broken. It's all for the grind. That cobblestone bridge right there, by the way, that was from the first episode in this world. Kind of a crazy moment to be finally breaking something that was put here in the very first episode of this world 4 years ago. Wrapping up an entire day spent digging, I decided I needed a break. But to keep this moving forward, I AFK'd for about an hour at my gold farm while I got some dinner. Let's see how many gold blocks we were able to get out of that. Oh, well, that's a pretty good amount of gold blocks here. Since I'll be loading in this area for quite a while with all of my digging, I thought we could just bring the gold in here and get to work on bartering, as I am gonna need thousands of blackstone in order for this whole thing to be finished. Right, there are all the gold ingots dropped in now. I need about 6,000 blackstone, and we don't have a single piece. Oh God. I just realized somehow my bartering farm's not working. I don't know how many materials I lost. I've been gone for like 5 minutes. Oh, I just wasted so much gold. Great, how can I fix this? I think that slime block's not supposed to be there. Oh my God, how many materials were in here? Okay, let's try this now. Yes. Okay, thank you. That was an easy fix. With the blackstone now successfully being stored, I continued along with digging at the landscape, carving back the entire cliffside of the Crimson Forest to be able to fit in some pretty large buildings we will use to mark a passage into a future expansion to the city. Then I realized I need to clear the ceiling up another 2 blocks to make space for the tops of buildings before getting back to work on the underpass. Our final digging task in the Nether before I can get started revolves around removing the infrastructure for the mob switch. I'll for sure remember where I put this. I did it! I hate it! I hate this so much right now. I don't even want you. Ah, dang it, we lasted the entire dig without doing that with our non-silk touch pickaxes. We'll get a new ender chest soon, but I might as well finish digging up the rails first. I can't believe this is done. The city is ready to come into existence now. Well, that is after I get all of the materials here on this absurd Lightmatica list that I have of things that I need to get. This is gonna take a minute. I just finished putting away everything that I could, and let's grab some new shulker boxes and oh no, that is not nearly enough. What do we have out here? Okay, well, there's an extra and a lot of soul sand and soul soil. Do I not have a storage room for these? No, they're all just sitting in here. Okay, we can fix that. I think this will all fit in pretty well over here in dirt storage. It's kind of a related shovelable material. And up top, I have this big ol' room that I'm currently only storing red sand inside of. So we'll take this little wall right here. 2 soul sand. 2 soul sand. Well, soul sand. Make a nice little chest wall, and we can start filling everything in. That is going to help out this situation quite a lot, with 13 new shulker boxes. But for today's project, I need close to 90,000 blocks, which is going to need a lot more than 13 shulker boxes. Now for the obvious solution, get more shulker boxes. Why would I sort out my materials to store them better when I could just go to the end, kill a few shulker boxes, and keep on moving? Oh, that's terrifying. How can I not hit them? My goal is to get another stack of shulker shells for another 32 boxes to work with. I know I could build a shulker farm and never have this problem ever again, but for me, the only reason to come to the end dimension is to kill shulkers. So if I build a farm, I will have 0 reason to visit one of the 3 dimensions, and I just feel like that's a problem in itself. You know what? Since I'm already out here, I am gonna need a lot of end rods for a Cyberpunk City, so I might as well grab a few of them. I just found my first ever spear. I got a diamond spear over here. Oh, wow. I've never had one of these before. Wait. Nope. Yeah. No, it doesn't work on those. Oh God, not good for shulkers. Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's there. I now have enough for 60 new shulker boxes, so I think that should be enough. Time to head on home. I found a few more shulker shells at home, so we can go ahead and craft up our 32 shulker boxes. And thankfully, I am a little bit of a resource hoarder, so I'm gonna start by getting everything that I have on hand already. Cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, andesite, diorite, granite, stone, where 2 shulkers can go here in the super smelter, or a ton of smooth stone. Endstone, endstone brick, copper ore, emerald ore, deep slate lapis lazuli ore, and blocks of raw copper. Dripstone, lodestones, tough, a whole box of pale moss, muddy mangrove roots, mud, packed mud, mud bricks, gravel, coarse dirt, 1 rooted dirt, smooth red sandstone. This site is everything I was able to get just from pulling blocks out of our stone and dirt storage. And we still have one heck of a material list ahead of us. To get started, I need a load of copper to age down, and the current aging rooms are full of other stuff, so I need to clear this all down and hope that we have enough copper to craft all the new stuff. That's a lot of doors, more door than I'll ever need. And we're taking the lanterns to Tough Hall. We're gonna make 8 stacks of chains and copper bars, then place them all back down in the aging room. I did this part first to help me get more things done at once. I don't like to AFK much, so I'll do anything I can to keep doing something in the game. Starting, I went next door to the basalt farm and got to work on harvesting the 3,000 basalt I need, with a quick stop to my iron farm here at World Spawn to craft the 8 stacks of chains and bars I need here too. And apparently 200 trapdoors that I completely forgot about. At this point, I'm already feeling it. I'm 4 hours into resource gathering, and I'm avoiding going into the lumber mill to see what I have or even just need to get from there. So instead, we're headed to the nether tree farm, as I know at least I need a few warp logs. We'll just drop some logs off and sprint away to avoid this for a little bit longer. Taking a trip into the nether, I need to visit all of my farms in here pretty much to collect blackstone from the bartering farm and pick up all 3 types of frog lights from that spot, but apparently I didn't have any pearlescent ones, so I had to hang out for a few, where somehow my iron golems inside died, so I had to make a few more, which all died pretty quickly as well. But I managed to get enough pearlescent frog lights while they were alive, so we're off to the wither skeleton farm to grab some bone blocks. And I really had to think on this one, but yeah, I actually do have a black dye farm in this world with my squid farm. I completely forgot that this thing existed. Thankfully, it does still work fairly well here, so it should have all of the black dye I need, and we need a ton of black stained glass here, as I want to use them to shadow in the windows a lot. Here goes all of the stained glass that we're going to need for the build. I do also want a ton of tinted glass, however, and I need 15 stacks of the stuff, so we're down in the villager trading hall buying glass from the librarians before jumping over to the amethyst geodes I have cleared out already, with a minecart connecting 4 different geodes together for very quick amethyst shard mining. I was today days old when I realized the tinted glass recipe doubles the amount of glass you get out of the thing. So that's neat. I'm 1 glass short. I'm one tinted glass short. We're just making a ton extra. I'm sure I'm gonna need it. I don't know why this has turned into my staging ground instead of putting it all in the nether, but we've filled in more than half of the floor of the quarry storage room. Oh god, okay. I'm gonna need even more boxes than this. Day 3 of resource gathering begins with a new journey into the snowy taiga to a trial chamber I've slowly converting into a bunch of auto farms for keys, and I've also been stripping the entire thing clear of materials. I realized that I need over a shulker box of tough bricks, and this is a much easier way to get them than digging around looking for the regular tough blobs. After 30 minutes of tough mining later, I jumped around to mine up some of the copper that is still sitting down here in a few of the hallways I realized that I had missed, and I also grabbed up quite a few of the copper lamps as well. Back in storage again, I got to work on crafting down all of the different tuff that I needed, and you'll absolutely love this as much as I do. I don't have enough. Still, I'm about 12 stacks of tuff shy from the full material list that I need, but at least we got a lot of it, and I'll deal with that in a bit. As next up, I want to deal with the concrete powders. I hardly build with these, so I don't have any farm to help the process, but I really want to use bold colors in the cyberpunk city, and I crafted up a ton of different stuff. Flying east, I set up a beacon and got to work on converting it to concrete and tearing it all back down. Back to the tuff, well, deep slate, I need over 5,000 deep slate too. Whee! And there we go. That 5,000,001 blocks mined with the netherite pickaxe. Right, I finished crafting all of it, but this is getting to me, dude. I will now fully admit, I have underestimated how long this would take. The burnout is setting in for real. Look at all of this stuff. Oh. You wanna know what sucks? I'm not even close to being done. Oh look, somebody I can go beat up real quick. Oh, I missed. I feel better now. All right, here we go again. More empty shulker boxes. I'm gonna do it. I don't know how long this is gonna take, but I'm gonna get started. The dreaded lumber mill. I didn't leave this room for literally an hour of straight stripping and crafting down all of the wooden materials. Okay, not all of them, but that's enough complaining. We're turning over a new leaf, and I think I'm on the downhill of the resource list. Speaking of hills, I need to chop down pretty much this entire hill of cherry trees. Leaving the cherry forest behind, we need one more wood type that I seem to be constantly out of. Dark oak. I find myself needing to fly out here always and chop these down. I might use more spruce, but for some reason my storage is always out of dark oak logs. There goes our dark oak and our cherry completed, which means we can clear out of the lumber mill now. My impromptu staging area here is filling up very quickly. And we're not even close. Let's grab a bunch more shulker boxes. We'll probably need even more than that. Come down here into the honeycomb farm and fill up my entire inventory to head on over to Tough Hall, as I have a ton of copper to wax and collect. Have I ever talked about how expensive it is to create waxed copper chains and bars of any type? For each and every single bar or chain you want, not only do you have to craft it from the copper, but each individual piece needs to be waxed to stop from aging. And I wish these had crafting recipes that were not just ingots. But copper is now completely done, minus some lightning rods that I didn't age any down originally, so I'm adding a few more rows, as I don't think I had added enough, and that's about how long it took for me to craft the rest of the copper for those to get to where they are now. This place has chunk loaders under the ground, so we can keep moving on with everything else. We can drop the 4 new shulkers that I filled up of all of our copper stuff back down in here first, and grab yet another empty box. Grab some of the ink I brought from the squid farm earlier, as it's time to visit the Guardian Farm for my next resource gathering stop. I need all types of prismarine for a few different pipes and even a spaceship. This storage room definitely needs a renovation, but it does work, so that's good. I've got everything I need. I have 2 major stops left before it's just a few final little bits here and there, and I can go back home. This one here makes me feel a little evil, though. We are making a cyberpunk dystopia, so I guess this feeds into it, as I need to destroy a coral reef for nearly 1,000 dead coral blocks. Whoa, look at that, a nautilus, 2 of them. I've never seen these in game before. And oh wait, I did kill a pufferfish because he poisoned me earlier. Can you be my friend? You're my friend. Do I have a saddle? I might have one in here. Yes, I do. Here, buddy. Oh, and you don't lose your air either. Wait, that's so cool. Next up is the Mesa, and I decided to travel over by Nautilus in style. Most of the terracotta I need doesn't spawn here, unfortunately, so I got regular terracotta to die down. Everything is died right in here for all of the terracotta I need. And look at this, the list no longer scrolls. I'm so happy right now. And most of these items are just lightning rods, which we already have aging down. Oh my God, the light at the end of the tunnel is here. First step, more honeycomb, a little bit of string, grab some of those candles. I'm just gonna make a stack of white ones, as I'll need them later, I'm sure. And ink sacks, we can make our stack of black candles. The extras go in the candle box. And now my watch begins, where I can start by taking a few of these. These are weathered, perfect. I need 11 of them. Ooh, actually I need a ton of the exposed ones. I might have got in here at the perfect time. I don't need to leave many of these stage down, I think. And there we go. These last 2 are gonna be literally everything we need. That's it. That's the full material list. And I also got all these things ready to go, because I'm gonna need to glow and dye some signs when we're out there, I'm sure. But I'm off to go get a pedicure with my wife, so building can wait till later. I started doing this last time I built a mountain to help with quickly knowing what was in each box. And I cannot recommend this enough for the big chest monsters, shulker monsters. Oh my gosh. Simply just putting the block in front so you can know what's going to be inside of it for that row is so incredibly helpful, and actually probably saves multiple hours. Okay, hours might be an exaggeration. An hour, but when I'm going to be building this thing for probably 15 hours, it's going to save a lot of time, because bam, look at that, jungle and spruce right in here. Also, it's a really good thing that I got this extra dye box over here and with our glow squid ink, because that brings the total up to 68 shulker boxes. It would have been a little awkward otherwise. It's time to get into construction, and I want to start off with our bulwark against the lava and farthest out that I plan to build today. Then it's time to build the main road so that I can move around safely in this space instead of trying to dig over the top of lava, which doesn't sound fun at all. It happened already. I didn't even get the first road in. It already happened. Anyways, very fun part here is the primary nether portal that I use to access path. We can already move down into the city like it's going to be in a little subway station. And that brings us out to here. And then I believe going back. Oh my God, it does link here. Oh, I thought it was going to link to the roof. Yes, that means I can keep both of them. Love that. I got to figure out what to do with those guys. There's so many of them trapped back here. Okay, with the rodent next, I want to get started on the buildings, but this is a little chaotic here to be looking at that. So we have this section in here where I can turn off every section outside of a single one, and I was smart about doing it. So everything we need is currently just for that building right over there, and we can just focus on that guy. I'm in the lava. I need to stop doing that. I really need to stop falling in the lava. That's going to be a problem soon. Before we make any buildings, I do want to finish the main road around the left end of the project site. If it's not obvious by now, I want to mention that I did plan out this entire build in creative. I've never made anything in this cyberpunk style before, so I had a lot of learning to do. And if you need a rabbit hole to jump in, I streamed almost all of the creative planning process here on my channel, which are all available for anyone to watch if you have no plans for the weekend. They're all linked in a playlist in the description for you. Getting started on the building, I quickly realized how much of a mess this is all going to be for inventory management. So I found some tools to help me out a bit, being a little more efficient. I'll share later, as our first building is coming up on the far right side in the perimeter. So I need to make sure everything in this building is spawn proof so it doesn't ruin the wither skeleton farm that we've made. This is a shorter building for the city, so we'll need something behind it eventually, but this is a great first step. Yes, I know the sign says Blaze. There's a Blaze farm kind of nearby. It's real clever of me, I know. Our next building also connects to the road around being the corner. It needed a little mini mart on the main level. Above that, I want the building to expand over the base foundation to give it some more presence and round the corner off, where we're going to be bringing in some big fancy windows using chains and carpets to get those fun detail lines in. And behind that, as I don't plan to do all interiors, we are bringing in a dull light with frog lights behind tinted glass. Stacking this up a few times, it gives nice horizontal lines of some big penthouses or something, I don't know. On top of here, we do have some decorations coming in with some of our vents. We've got pipes, we've got water towers, where everything is spawn proof up here as we are within the perimeter. So again, all of this stuff needed to be absolutely safe, but I really love all of the colors we get up here. And the lights coming from the windows, I have the brightness up a lot for the time lapses so y'all can see things, but this is the moody vibe I want. And down at the bottom, we have F-Mart. This was about 6 hours of building between the roads and the two buildings here, and I'm taking the city to the far end where we finished the road all the way down there, so I think I've got about 15 to 20 hours of pure block placing ahead of me, and I forgot the wall back there. Okay, well, we need that in. Now a new mod comes into play here, Tweakaroo. Well, 3 mods, Tweakaroo, Tweaker More, and Item Scroller. Now we can go into the settings of Tweakaroo. And there's this guy right here, auto collect material list item. Turning that to true. Take our Lightmatica file down so it's just a few layers, and then we refresh, show rendered layers material list only. You can see it's a really small amount here. And I know this is not exactly vanilla, but it doesn't change anything about vanilla gameplay except save me a ton of headache and time. So I can run through here, and what this is doing is automatically pulling out the blocks that I need from this resource list. So instead of being like, all right, where the heck are my 24 stone? I can just come over here, tap, 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 go through the entire row. And I now have everything that I need for this little section here, because I went full creative mode when doing this thing. And there's a million different block types in this whole place. I want to be transparent about how I'm doing this, as YouTubers tend to make these massive projects look super easy, but in reality, they're not, and they're super time consuming. But thankfully, with Vanilla Plus mods that pretty much everybody uses, we can make them manageable. Between the tools we have in Minecraft and some extra mods, we can really bring the art in our brains to life in our survival worlds. Day count wise, I'm currently on day 12,533. I started this project before 12,300. So we're already over 200 days in game on this one. And this is probably one of my favorite buildings I've designed for the entire city, and we're throwing it in here earlier as I love the shape language on this thing. with all of the big lines going vertical up there. We've got all of our bold horizontal colorful lines, even a little diagonal thrown in there, and the dark windows as like a background element. You can see we have the black concrete in most of them, and then for a little variation, I threw in our skulk too, as it has a bit of an animation to it. This here is just so bold and colorful, and it's really what I want my cyberpunk style to embody. With that completed, I jumped up top on the middle structure to keep stacking it up, with a long of strong dividing sections for different purposes, with a port for a flying ship to dock at, before moving into even more apartment or like office spaces, and then topping it off with a section inspired by the stacks in Ready Player One for even more housing vibes, which completes building number 4. And I am so in love with all of the colors used on this one and the shapes. Oh my gosh, the shapes are so good here. I am very proud of myself on this one. To complete the space, we need to introduce a tall, skinny building as a big dividing point, where I wrote my own name in the enchanting language, of course, and added in subtle windows and shapes to make this look just wide enough to have an interior. I did have an issue with coming back into the Nether, however, and a ghast had spawned, so I decided next to make the subway entrance for my Nether portal to path so that I could at least get my bearings before I was under attack. In front of the subway, we have a larger flat space, so I thought this could be perfect for a little market. In the time I spent wandering around Cyberpunk 2077 for inspiration, I kept stumbling across roadside vendors and little markets, which I didn't really expect, but I thought including that right outside the subway could make sense for people walking around. So we have a merchant selling rare plants and some crystals over here, a small coffee stand or brewing something or another. I don't know, they're making something with another word. A place to grab a quick bite to eat over here, and somewhere that sells speakers, I guess. Yeah, speakers. Oh, hey. Expanding the road further to the left side, we can start on the chonker of a building, and I figured now would be a great time to mention, if you're enjoying today's build and want to check it out in person, I have new downloads available for channel members. With every few episodes, I provide a new world download to all tier 1 supporters. I really rely on y'all's support to keep making these videos, so if you've gotten something out of them, please consider putting something back in, and you can cancel at any time. Thank you to everybody who takes a moment to check out the memberships, and you can come visit the Piglin Bar, sitting underneath the road itself with a little vending machine, some garage for all their bikes, I don't know, some weird advertisement sign, a diner up on the middle level. Before we jump into that, I want to share how I go about texturing builds like these, as I've thrown in some pretty wacky colors and so many different blocks are going into each building. But for that, we need to take another step backwards, as the shape of the building helps determine the colors a ton too. Adding a few of the main detail elements like AC units or random cyberpunky looking gadgets also is a big step here in defining the shape and popping things out a little bit more. Using the Axiom Color Picker tool, I can start to find some blocks to work with and throw them down on my hotbar to use more easily. And we can take some of those into the Gradient tool to figure out any blocks that could have been used in between. Placing them down in the world, we can show it works or doesn't, so I usually tweak it myself from there. And start to apply the darker blocks around the shadowed points, and then a blob of lighter color where I figure a highlight would be hitting, and then try to merge them together with a gradient smoothing it out as I continue throughout, before grabbing a few different contrasting tones to just make it more interesting overall. This is still pretty rough, but you can see the idea coming in here. Something I also really love doing is changing out the glass for tinted glass so you don't get the glow coming off of it and it just looks bright on the inside. Before we get back into the big buildings, I want to finish up the remaining base foundations in place, so I'm running around to grab all of the stones and things I'm going to need for it. So this gives us some more structure to work up from and walkways so I don't fall in the lava again. Even though this is a dystopia, I still want it to be walkable between the levels, so I'm installing a large staircase on the corner, which continues along the road, where I'm installing large supports to hold up an entire building over the top of it, that some locals have decided to set up camp underneath with a fire lighting their space. And I got to work finally installing the rest of the base foundation. Throwing in little shops into the walls has been super fun. So we have Trinket right here, along with some graffiti of a salmon a heart because it's hardcore Minecraft, so I had to, and this cute little zombie I found online and kind of tweaked myself. And lastly, down here at the main road level, we have some big fans as exhaust pipes for the buildings. I've been in here so long that my rocket shulker box is pretty much empty, and my 3 elytra are very torn up as well. So it's time to go look at that beautiful Minecraft blue sky. Oh, my portal's not. Why am I back on the roof? I literally just built many buildings so that I didn't have to fly up to the roof to take a portal back to the overworld. What am I doing? Well, let's hope the rocket factory is stocked up. And no, not really. So much for seeing the blue sky out here. Time to put myself in a little box. One StarCraft game later, and we're up to this, which is at least good enough for now. Just did a little bit of villager trading in here, and my elytras are repaired up. Before we go back in, I have a few more stops to make. First, I need 2 shulker boxes and a load of buckets, because for the next step, I need a load of lava. For the island I cleared out in front of the city, I want a lava front, kind of like a waterfront, but molten hot lava, which is spicy, so I need these walkways. As lava doesn't merge together like water sources do in Minecraft, so I need to put a lava bucket in every single one of these spaces. Right, that was my entire lava farm, and I got that done. Oh no. And we didn't miss anything. That's good. I guess I can clear out these little spots. It will be covered up eventually, so it's not a bad thing if I get rid of the lava. Oh, nope. Hate this. Okay, we're at. Whoa. Right, new idea. Bartering farm. Fire resist potions. I'm just gonna keep one of these on the hotbar. I decided since I have a lot of lava that will be covered up with just buildings, it's probably quicker to just bucket lava here and then fill in the middle instead of waiting for the lava farm to refill, leading to a full hour of bucketing lava to move it over a few blocks and place it back down. Part of me wishes lava sources could merge together, but the amount of chaos that would cause, I'm okay that it doesn't. Back to the city building now, where I proceeded to quickly take another dive directly into the lava again. And twice. But moving on, as we're finally done with lava for now, I hope. I got to work stacking up some garage type spaces along with the idea of a road continuing along, well, having one of the garage spaces open so it sells the idea some more, which also helps to bring the city as a whole together in the moody environment. But I need a little break to get away from the lava and go touch some water instead. Ah, yeah, that's much better. And you know what else needs water? Crops. Definitely not turtles. So it's time to plant a field real quick before we finish up the cyberpunk buildings, as I do this with every episode in this hardcore world. Even with pushing myself today and stepping out of my comfort zone, it's good to still have some things that you come back to. So as you are going through life, maybe you need a cozy Minecrafter to keep on in the background, to keep the good vibes going, and I can help. So be sure to subscribe if you have not already, as it helps me out a ton, and I'll do my best to fill the cozy Minecrafter role. That's enough blue sky time. We can head back underground now. Now for one of my favorite spots in the entire build. I really love the texturing and just everything about this. The burnt orange coloring along with the blues of the pearlescent frog lights hidden behind tinted glass and the white accents for the fences really just sells the whole space. Above that, I wanted to normalize things a bit with some more subtle colors with our bamboo and oxidized copper detail. To avoid another flat face, I thought this could be great for an outdoor market of sorts with a ramen stand and some seating up here to show a place for people to live in without needing to go to the road level. I really wish glow ink would show up farther away because the vibes here are so good. This next part was supposed to be a big fancy time lapse, but I forgot to unpause it a few times, so yeah, we get this. But more importantly, we get this. Cyberpunk builds are always so full of advertisements, so I decided to throw in a huge billboard on top that's supposed to look like the album cover of the Minecraft Legends soundtrack, because honestly, it's some of my favorite Minecraft music. And to make that pop out a little bit more, even with the lights on top of it, I used a lot of darker colors for our structures along the back, as if they're more shadowed and pushed farther off of the road and away from the city mess down there. Just adding more to the skyline and blocking off, honestly, more of the Crimson Forest back here. This is probably one of my favorite parts. But no, I swear there's still good things coming. Like the rest of this mega structure braced with a large tough rectangle at the bottom, as I don't want the entire thing to appear to start on the same level, just to create more interest. So on the corner, I went with some L-shaped living spaces with kelp blocks for windows, and a full green palette with our dark prismarine, jungle, and mangrove log. I especially like how we don't have a solid line on the corner itself. Sticking with our earthy tones here, I want to add a taller section using mainly brown colors. I feel like this just really hits on an OG Minecraft build style, just slapping random shapes next to one another, and some crazy amalgamation comes from it all. I can really see the light at the end of the tunnel now, which is helping to give me some more energy to continue on. Here with another shorter edition, going for a washed out blue palette, even using deep slate lapis ore for texturing, then adding in another billboard inspired by a Minecraft painting. I think this gets the idea across. Can you guess which painting it is? I feel like it's fairly obvious. And up top, I've still got to expand this farther back here, but we're gonna have another rooftop balcony of sorts with the buildings just kind of growing up around it in a back street. But first, I want to finish off the middle stack with a pink building in the front and a small alleyway with a black stone structure coming up as a wall. This was kind of a last minute decision for the color palette up here for the pink, but I think it works out really well, and that locks in everything. It's a little clicky clacky when we're walking through the space with all the spawn proofing on the ground, but I really love the cramped vibe we get in the alley. Time to block out some more of the nether and continue building up the mega structure. All the way up on top of the tower, we have a penthouse with a little pool using glass as the best I could do. Some seating all the way around here, and of course, plants. Tons of potted plants. Much smaller, less fancy apartment buildings behind in the blackstone and deep slate, our yellow edition popping out with a new billboard, and the primarily birch slot to the left with some of my biggest fans. Seeing a project that I have spent almost a year designing finally come into reality in my hardcore world is such a surreal experience. The entire project, I asked the question of, can I do this? Not should I do this? When it came to designing the structures and what blocks to put into each, I didn't limit myself. If a block looked good and it made the overall outcome better, I used it. No holding back for the sake of being survival friendly. This was the first project in nearly 8 years that I let my creative self just fully unleash. And man, oh man, it has been a journey to get to this point. An uphill battle is an understatement. We're nearly 400 days in-game working on this part of the Cyberpunk city, from the resource gathering taking me across my entire Minecraft world, the digging and excavating of a few 100,000 blocks of netherrack, reaching 5 million blocks mined with my netherite pick, and now each and every block I've placed brings me one step closer to finally finishing what is quickly becoming the Minecraft build I am most proud of, with by far the most variety of blocks used and probably the most time I've spent on using shape language to really bring something to life. So there's only one question I still have left to answer. Taco Squad, I need to know, does this look cyberpunk to you?
Yeah, it looks super cyberpunk. I like it a lot.
I'll take that. That seems like a win to me.
It's like a bunch of separate parts all tied together. We got levels of density. We have like patterns, but then disruptions in those patterns. We have vertical and horizontal, and there's like a lot of interesting parts without it being just overly complicated.
Okay, good.
Good use of color. I'm gonna give this 9 tacos out of 10.
9 tacos out of 10. That sounds fantastic. Well, that's all I needed for you. Thank you, my friend. This is single player world, so kind of awkward you're here. I have one more addition to the city here, which really brings in the lore. We need a spaceship. Not just any spaceship, a fish ship. Something I designed back in May of 2025. I randomly decided to build 2 spaceships inspired by fish. Today, I want to take the larger ship that I call the bottom feeder and add it into the city as a form of cargo transport, floating next to a landing platform as a way to introduce the idea I plan to expand on a lot, with a ton of ships and vertical travel options going throughout the city. I'm thinking monorails, spaceships, and maybe even some lava boats, and whatever else comes up. Regardless, our first expansion back into the Nether is complete. This entire Cyberpunk city landscape has been built up with over 100,000 blocks placed down and now over 400 days in-game in the Nether. all to bring this single nether portal down into the nether itself. And I've got 7 other portals I need to bring down. Oh boy, I've got a lot of work ahead of me. Let me know if it was worth it, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Dude, how did I overgather all of this stuff? What even happened here?